Oh shit!
Clip that.
Oh, dude. Hey, what's up guys? It's C-Dome. Welcome back to another PUBG video. Today, we're going to be going over Season 6 and the Survivor Pass Shakedown for PUBG. I'll be going over all the important need-to-know bits for the Season 6 update. That includes the new map, vehicle, weapons, Season Pass, and the bug fixes. And then later in the video, I'm going to wrap up with my impressions and advice on how to master Karakin after some extensive playtesting on the test server and the newly patched live server. Now, first things first, Vikendi is out and Karakin is in. Also, can we stop calling it Karakin and start calling it Kraken? So Kraken is in. Now, this is going to be a temporary change. They're doing this for a couple of reasons. Number one, they wanted to make some balances and some changes to Vikendi, but they also wanted to get rid of one of the maps to provide a healthy matchmaking for the new map in rotation. Now, depending on your region, Kraken is going to be added to either the featured map or just straight into the random map pool with Erangel, Miramar, and Sandhawk. So Kraken is a brand new 2x2 map, and just for reference as far as size, Sandhawk is a 4x4. There's only 64 players allowed in the lobby for solos, duos, and squads, and the map's going to consist of mainly 100 meters and less of engagement distance, but there's still plenty of fun that can be had up to about 200 meters, given the fact that they limit the amount of scopes available on the map. So 6Xs and 8Xs and 15s are not available on the map at all. 4Xs are extremely rare, and 3Xs and 2Xs are mostly what you're going to be finding around the map. There are only 5 named locations to land, but there's plenty of fun places to drop considering the map is kind of littered with underground tunnels, and the tunnels typically have the better loot. Given the fact that there's not one central drop location, there's no like boot camp or there's no loot cave, that means that half the lobby doesn't just die, you know, before phase 1 or phase 2. So it gives you like multiple play styles, but it still keeps everything fresh and fast paced and just cuts out a lot of that middle dead ground that PUBG typically has in the larger maps. So some of the new features that are getting added to Kraken are the sticky bomb, aka C4, although they don't want you to call it C4 mainly because it's not a manually detonated explosive. It is a timed detonation. I believe it's 5 seconds from the time that you throw it. They've added black zone and removed the red zone. The black zone, I think, is what all PUBG fans have been screaming for since the red zone was introduced. This is a visible airstrike that can level the building, killing anyone inside and altering the playstyle of that compound. Meaning, once it's destroyed, kind of like Battlefield 4, if you've ever played that, the structure supports of the building are still standing, so you still have some cover inside the rubble, but you can no longer just hide and peek windows if the black zone is on your compound. You'll get a immediate siren warning that the black zone is on your map. The compound's going to be highlighted with a purple circle letting you know that's the targeted area. And then once the airstrike hits, when you pull up your map, you'll have a purple X on the compounds that have been destroyed, even if you weren't nearby when they were destroyed. That way you can help better plan your rotations concerning what is in cover, what is not in cover. In addition to that, certain walls, ceilings, and floors can be blown up. So the ones with the brick cutouts, the broken concrete, or even the new drywalls can all be exploded with the new C4. Speaking of drywall, you can actually now shoot through the drywall inside the compounds. So it's very reminiscent of Rainbow Six Siege if you ever played that. Although you can't punch holes in the drywall, you have to shoot through it to create a hole, but your bullet does pass all the way through, damaging 100% damage to the enemy behind it. So it gives you a different tactical approach to close quarters combat. Now, moving on from Kraken, we have Erangel and Miramar seeing a very welcome change with the permanent addition of the flyable motor gliders. These are the 2-seater planes. Now, there's been a slight change to these from the test server now that they've implemented them in the live server. So there's only going to be 10 spawning on each map, and there's going to be a total of 40 random locations where they can spawn from. So they no longer are going to be 10 hard marked spawns. They're going to be 10 out of a possible 40 on every different match. So that makes them even harder to find and less of like a hot drop where everyone just rushes one of them and punches everyone before they can even take off. So it's going to be harder to find, but you have to remember to be sure to bring a gas can this time because they do start them out with 0 fuel. At first, I thought the 0 fuel change was a bit much, but after getting a couple playthroughs in it, finding one and having a gas can with me and being able to get in it comfortably and take off and, you know, kind of experience that all, I thought it was a really cool change. So I'm really happy they did the 10 random spawns, and I'm even happier after playing it that it starts with 0 fuel. So make sure you bring at least 1 gas can, but you'll be surprised how fuel efficient the glider is. I'll make another video on that later about how to properly take off in the glider, what's the best throttle position to keep it at for best fuel efficiency, because you cannot refuel it in air. You have to land it to refuel, which is obviously a death sentence in a lot of scenarios. Also with Season 6 is the brand new Survivor Pass called Shakedown. Now this is coming with 70 plus new skins and emotes, and they have it's a mixed bag of reviews on the skins and the emotes. I honestly thought most of them were pretty darn good. My favorite was the OK Boomerang edition, which changes out for one of the melee weapon skins. The only downfall with that is that you're gonna have to drop your butt pan, or at least not have your butt pan equipped when you have this one. But the OK Boomerang is like an actual boomerang, but I haven't seen one tested out, so I don't think it actually works like a boomerang. But man, how dope would that be if you could actually throw it and it would boomerang, either hit an enemy and come back to you, or just spin around and come back to you depending on how far away you threw it. That'd be one cool thing for PUBG to add. So PUBG, do that, please. Now, of the new skins, I actually really liked the unlockable Karakin Jewel and the Hot Dropper skins, and you can find those just by completing the level up missions on the season pass. So you don't have to buy the season pass to get access to these, but you do get access to more missions and more skins to unlock, and the season pass is $9.99. So the community missions are still going to be going on. So those are little boxes of discs that you see throughout the map, so be sure to still pick those up. They'll count towards new lore videos and actually new gear too for the community to unlock. Just make sure you press tab and drag it to loot it. For some reason they don't allow you just to press F to pick them up. The weapon challenge missions are back, but this time they do not require that silly t-shirt you had to wear to complete each one. And the skins, in my opinion, actually look really cool this time. They got this cool like gecko theme going on, and they have the scorpion, which is meh, the Winchester, which is going to get a lot of use on the new Kraken map, the QBZ, the AKM, and the QBU. I think all of these look really, really cool. I'm looking forward to unlocking those. Okay, so moving on to some quality of life changes. A couple patches ago, they allowed us to change our preferred fire rate when picking up certain weapons. So they further improved those. So the ARs and the SMGs that have single burst and auto, you can select those to start on a separate fire mode versus an AR that only has full auto or single fire. So for an example, you can pick up an M4 and have it set to go full auto, and you can also pick up an M16 and have it set to go single fire. Reload and weapon switching effects have also been changed, as well as ambient noises when you're zoomed into the weapon. So like your little keychain that kind of jangles on the weapon, and just different weapon reload noises. If it's got a bolt action lever, if the bullet's popping out, those do sound a little bit different on the guns. These have also gotten a mixed bag of reviews. Some people say they sound cheap and clanky. Some people say they do sound more realistic and they really like it. So that's just personal preference, up to you there. Vaulting sounds have been improved as well to make more audible interactions with each different surface and your clothing that you're wearing. However, a lot of the jumping sounds sound exactly the same as when you're vaulting. So in other words, like if you jump up and down on certain surfaces, it sounds exactly the same as if you just vaulted over a ledge and then went onto the ground. So it can be difficult to discern the difference audio there. The Kindi is still available in the custom lobbies, and the ambient noises have been reduced there as well. PUBG did hear our feedback about the MP5K and the G36. Now that those are out of availability, they are going to look at bringing those into other map rotations, which I think would be awesome. I'd love to see all the weapons available on all the maps. So we'll see what they do with that. Now, one thing that did not make it into this patch yet is the Panzerfaust rocket launcher, the RPG, whatever you want to call it. That is going to be coming, they say, later in the season. So hopefully well before Season 7. But it's going to be a Kraken only available weapon. And we'll hopefully have more details to come on that. All right, guys. So now that we got the patch notes out the way, let me go over my Kraken reviews, impressions, and breakdown. First, I'll start with what I don't like because honestly, there's a lot more that I do like versus what I don't like on the map. So number one, the map tends to be very third-party central, especially on squads. Adding higher powered or more scopes is only going to amplify this. So I'm glad that there's no 6, 8, or 15s. But if a whole squad has 4Xs and they all have DMRs, when you get to those hilltop fights, it can get a little trolly with how quickly you can get third-partied. There's not enough smoke grenades to make smart rotations if you don't have the hilltop when the circle closes. So if you have to run up the ravine or around the ravine or down the ravine into cover, there's very few smoke grenades, and sometimes the trees and rocks that they have just doesn't provide enough natural cover. So I would like to see more smoke grenades in the mix. If you do happen to get hilltop, this also means that you're almost guaranteed that someone else is going to have sights on you at all times during mid to late game. So obviously that's a risk you have to take, or you may want to take if you want to be able to third party other fights or just kind of get better eyes on who's rotating when and where. But when you're on top of these hills, the rocks can be a little sketchy as far as maneuvering around them. And so if someone starts to take shots at you, it can get kind of hard to get down off of that rock and get into safe cover. I found that even with the loot buff, you can still struggle to find backpacks, armor, and helmets. Even in solos, a couple of the rounds I was running around with a level 1 vest and a level 1 backpack, even after looting a lot of the big loot caves like the underground bunkers. So I thought that was a little weird, but you know, that could just be up to RNG on a couple of random games. My biggest gripe, I think, about the map is the vertical audio and how broken it is. This has been discussed by PUBG, even in the patch notes. They say that it won't be fixed until sometime around the April update. But essentially, you can't tell when someone is above or below you. Now you can see how frustrating that would be in a map that has bunkers and loot caves that you're running in, because a squad could be literally running towards you and it makes you turn and hold an angle, or maybe see they're down the hallway, but the whole time they were above you on top of the mountain running with you, or vice versa. You could be on top and hear them down low. It's really frustrating. And I've even had it happen to me in some of the compounds. They'll land on the roof of my compound and I'll think that they're behind the compound, just judging by the audio distance, but in fact they're sitting right on top of you. So hopefully they get that code fixed and they do have it out at least by April, but I'm sure that's going to be a frustration with a lot of people. Okay, moving on from what I don't like to what I do like. So number one, this map is fast-paced. It shows a different side of PUBG, and it accentuates the fantastic gunplay that PUBG provides. And I think it's very, very similar to, say, like you just jumping into the training grounds. It's like you land, boom, you got a gun, you're getting to a gunfight. Unless you land somewhere completely separated, you're almost always guaranteed a fight off the bat. And then that whole middle looting phase of like 5 minutes to 10 minutes with no action is gone. Just doesn't exist in this map. That's not going to be for everyone. I get it. But there's a huge, huge portion of the FPP community that's going to love this map. The matches that I've seen have taken no more than 15 minutes top. Some go a little bit over, but most last 15 minutes, and then boom, you're on to the next one. The map has no frag grenades. This is a huge welcome change, in my opinion, because, again, it just puts you right back into the fantastic gunplay that PUBG has. The C4, you know, the explosives, can be used as a makeshift frag grenade, but their blast radius is very small. They're more so used, A, just to zone out your enemy, or B, if you're really good and you throw them close enough to the enemy, the little explosion noise and the cell phone noise will mute your footsteps long enough to make you, or to let you rotate safely left or right around that enemy to push them. There's no red zone in the map, and that's been replaced with the black zone, and it is amazing. No 6x, 8x, or 15x. The snipers can still be successful, but you're not instantly dead if you try to make a run from cover to cover on like solos or duos, just because everyone is not used to using a 3x or even a 4x for the most part. So I feel pretty comfortable making those rotations in the solos and duo games. ARs with a 3x actually fit about 80% of your engagement time on the map. I think it's really fun to be able to single tap and spray with an AR, and I'd go as far as to say most engagements you honestly don't even need an SLR or a sniper. So the Winchester is on this map, and I think this is where it shines, especially considering scopes are, I'm not going to say a rare commodity, they're just harder to find than normal. You can pick a Winchester up right off the ground. It's got a built-in scope, and it's damn near as good as a bolt-action sniper rifle. One shot to level 1 helmet, and, you know, 2 shots of level 2 helmet, unless they're a little bit hurt, then it can one-shot them as well. So a really good gun. They've completely removed sawed-off shotguns, thank God, and they limited the amount of pistol spawns, thank God. The last thing that I'd say I really like about this map is the bunker combat. I love that they have this kind of close quarters combat with multiple entrances and exits. So it creates just a whole new dynamic. It's not like on the loot cave where it's like, oh, there's only 2 spots you can go into, so you know where to camp. On a lot of the bunkers, there's 2 or 3 entrances, unless you get to one of the smaller ones. And some of them, there is only one way in, one way out. Okay, guys, we did it. That's it. That's my Season 6 overcap of the patch notes and my impressions on Karakin. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's been a while since my last one came out. New year, new me, you know, all that jazz. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Please stick around for future videos. Throw a like on the video if you did like it. Dislike it if you did not. Throw down in the comments your favorite part about your experiences with the new map Karakin or the new glider. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you have a fantastic day. Papa Domes out. Peace.